What's up, everybody out there in learning land?
Hey, TenThumbs land.
Tyler from TenThumbsPro.com coming at you with another ukulele tutorial like we do every single Wednesday and Saturday with a special guest guitarist, my friend Ryan.
What's up?
And today what we're going to talk about is 4 levels of jamming with the guitar. This is something really common in a ukulele player's life. There are many more guitar players that are ready to jam than there are ukulele players. So what I'm going to teach you today is 4 ways as a ukulele player you can play with your guitar playing friend. Above Ryan's head over here in the corner, there are printable tabs for this lesson and all our lessons by becoming a Patreon. Click up in those notes. You ready, Ryan?
Ready, Tyler?
Alright, so what do you need? Ukulele, brain, attention span, and we're gonna jump in and break this lesson down, alright? Phase 1. So what we're going to do with phase 1 is we are going to play the exact same thing as our guitarist in the open position. This means the same chords and the same chord progression. For this particular example, we are using a G major chord, E minor chord, a C major, and a D major. Okay, now your guitarist can establish this, or you can establish this. This can be a song that you know, this can be a song that they know. That doesn't really matter, but you want it to be consistent. So you want to know the chords and the same rhythm. For this particular song, this particular example that we're using a down, down, up, up, down, up. So let's play that just over the G chord. Down, down, up, up, down, up, down, down, up, up, down, up, down, down, up, up, down, up, down, down, up, up, down, up. Now what we're going to do is we're going to apply that chord progression to one strum pattern per chord. G, E minor, C, and D. G, next chord E minor, next chord C, to the D major. Down, down, up, down, up, 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 down. And that is phase 1. Open chords, same chord progression, okay? Now phase 2 is going to sound like this. This chord progression is the exact same. So what we're going to do instead of strumming is we're going to finger pick the chords over that. Now, how do you determine the finger picking pattern that Peter Piper picked a pickle peck of peppers? How do you determine the finger picking pattern that you're going to use? Well, we know our strum pattern is down, down, up, up, down, up. If you know how to count music, and if you don't, you should check out How to Strum Better. I have a video on learning to count music that will help your rhythm. You know that's also 1, 2, and 4, and 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 1. So what I am doing is I am simply, instead of strumming, plucking a note. Now you can experiment with finger picking, you can use patterns you're comfortable with. It really just has to be a measure, and it does not have to be the exact same as the strum pattern. But if you are just figuring the style out, the easiest way is the exact same as the strum pattern, right? So we're gonna go 1, 2, and 4, and 1, 2, and 4, and. What I'm doing on the first beat, thumb, and these 2 fingers on the E and the A. First beat, 1. 1, second beat, C string, 2, pointer finger, E string, and. So far we have 1, 2, and. 1, 2, and. 1, 2, and. Okay? So you get 1, 2, and 4, and. We're gonna do pointer finger, E string, thumb, C string, pointer finger, E string. So over the G chord we get 1, 2, and 4, and. And notice, down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. I did the rhythm to match the strum pattern. Again, that is something you can experiment with. You can use finger picking patterns that you're comfortable with. A mosquito just flew directly into my eyeball, goodness. So you can use strum patterns that you're familiar with, finger picking patterns that you're familiar with. You can also experiment with it. If you're comfortable with the person playing guitar, I would recommend to experiment and have some fun. If we apply that chord progression to the entire, or we apply the finger picking pattern to the chord progression, we get. All right, pretty cool. So phase 3 is going to be bar chords. So the next progression is and if you don't know how to create bar chords, I did a great video with Bernadette, I'll link in the notes, where we talk about how to move these chords. Let's look at these shapes. Ultimately, to get to level 3, you should be able to know that, like, for example, this is a G, this is a G, this is a G, you should be able to find a couple G's in a couple places, okay? If you're able to do that, you can see that our F chord makes a G shape, barring the 2nd fret, middle finger, 3rd fret of the E string, ring finger, 4th fret of the G, 4, 2, 3, 2, we have a G chord. To make this an E minor, again, I'm going to show you exactly how to do it with this progression, but you should really watch that video I did with Bernadette and really master this ability to go from phase 2 to phase 3, because you're really going from pre-intermediate to intermediate player. G chord, pinky down here on the 4th fret of the C string, and you have an E minor. Take this same shape, move everything up a fret, remove your pinky, and move your middle finger up. So now you have 5, 4, 3, 3. You could play like this or like this. If you know your B flat shape, that's where it comes from, which ultimately comes from your A shape, C. And to make this C a D, we move it up 2 frets. So we get G, E minor, C, D, G, E minor, C, and D. The bar chords add another dimension, a little depth to it, and something different than. And you can always mix and match, right? So that is phase 3, phase 4. Phase 4 is soloing. Okay, now learning how to solo, finding your voice, learning resolution, that's going to take some time. The idea here is just kind of give you a brief overlap of what I'm doing. I know that G, E minor, C, and D are in the key of G. If you don't know how to do that, you can use a chord sheet or a chord wheel. I have a chord sheet, another link up there for my Patreons where you can download that, and you just examine the chord progression and you look for the group that has all the chords. So once you've identified, and another way to do it too, let's say you're playing a song that you're familiar with, you can simply Google what key is this song. What key is Last Kiss by Pearl Jam? Oh, Last Kiss is in the key of G. Cool. And if Last Kiss is in the key of G, that means G major. That means G major pentatonic. Is going to be your vehicle for improvisation. So the first thing you do is identify the key, and the second thing you do is practice your shapes. In this particular example, the shape we're going to use is C string 2-4, E string 3-5, A string 2-5, and we get 2-4-3-5 2-5. Those particular notes are going to sound good over every single chord in this progression. So if the guitar player is playing the G, the E minor, the C, and the D, you can literally play any notes you want, all right? Knowing that this note is the G note, the root note, is good because that's the last note that you want to play. In between all the notes that you play, the order doesn't matter. It's good to know though the last note is a G note. If you know that, you can rock out. All right, and those are 4 levels of jamming with your guitar playing friend. Now that you have those, you can take just playing alone by yourself and apply it to playing with other musicians, and you can feel less like a ukulele strummer and more like a musician, which ultimately should be your goal, to be able to play with other musicians that play other instruments. All right, everybody, until next time, keep on rocking and rolling and have a lovely day. Random solo! That's good. Yeah, dude. Yeah, dude. TenThumbs Land. Hey, learners, you made it to the very end, and I appreciate you. I'll prove it with a fat, nasty quarter bend right there. Thank you so much for learning with us. Thank you, Ryan, for jamming with us. I appreciate you. I kind of feel like you're gonna trick me into painting a fence, Tom Sawyer, with. Life is good. Remember, new ukulele every single Wednesday and Saturday, guitar on Monday. If you are interested, play with a friend, play with other musicians, wear sunscreen, eat your vegetables, drink plenty of water. Up to 3 liters a day actually is what I think they recommend. Any other advice?
Have fun.
All right, that's it. You heard it. Take care, everybody.